It's the roaring summer of 1922, out on the shimmering shores of Long Island. There's this one guy whose name is on everyone's lips, but, almost nobody has actually met him. He throws these absolutely spectacular parties, but he's like a ghost at his own feast. So that brings us to the big question, the one that drives one of the greatest American novels ever written. Who exactly is the mysterious Jay Gatsby? All right, to figure that out, we've got to meet our narrator, Nick Carraway, and he kicks things off with this piece of advice from his father. This quote tells you everything you need to know about him. It immediately sets him up as our moral compass. He's been taught to reserve judgment, which, makes him the perfect person to guide us through the wild, secret-filled world he's about to stumble into. So Nick's trying to make his fortune in the bond business, and he moves east from the Midwest. But he doesn't just find a new job, he lands smack in the middle of a world that's split by this huge social chasm, a divide that's perfectly symbolized by two little egg-shaped pieces of land. And this right here, it perfectly sums up that divide. You've got East Egg on one side, that's the home of the established, aristocratic, old money families who've had wealth for generations. And on the other, you have West Egg, home to the new money crowd. These are the people who made their fortunes themselves, often in, let's just say, questionable ways. They're seen as flashy and tacky. It's this huge clash of class, taste, and, well, history. And this is where Nick fits in. He's living in this tiny, overlooked bungalow that costs him $80 a month, squeezed right between these enormous mansions. I mean, he is literally living in the shadow of this colossal affair rented by some mysterious guy named Gatsby. It makes him the perfect observer. He's close enough to see everything, but not really a part of it all. Okay, so let's hop across the bay to those white palaces of East Egg and see how the other half lives. This is where we meet Nick's cousin, Daisy, and her husband, Tom Buchanan, the absolute picture of an old money couple. Tom Buchanan is just a force of nature. He's a former football star, he's incredibly rich, and he just radiates this aggressive arrogance. That phrase, a cruel body, tells you everything you need to know. This is a guy who is used to getting whatever he wants, and he really doesn't care who gets hurt in the process. And then there's Daisy. She's the golden girl of this whole world, just captivating everyone she meets. Her most powerful tool is her voice, which is described as being full of money. It's the kind of voice that just pulls you in. But, and this is a big but, we find out pretty fast that it's hiding a whole lot of unhappiness and, frankly, not much substance. Because that elegant facade, it's a total illusion. Nick's very first dinner with the Buchanans is just painfully awkward. There's all this tension, and it keeps getting interrupted by a ringing phone, a call from Tom's mistress in New York, that just shatters any idea that this is a happy marriage. The glamour is just a paper-thin layer over something really ugly. So from the glitz and glamour, the story takes a detour. We leave the glistening water and perfect lawns and head to the place that lies between the eggs and New York City, a place that's paying the price for all that wealth. This is the Valley of Ashes. It's this grim, industrial wasteland, basically the dumping ground for the city's garbage. It's a powerful symbol of the moral decay and the forgotten poor who get crushed by the pursuit of the American dream. And watching over it all are the giant, fading eyes of Dr. T.J. Eckelberg on a billboard. It's like these forgotten eyes of God just looking down on all this waste. And it's here that Tom, of all things, drags Nick along to meet his mistress, Myrtle. She is the total opposite of Daisy. She's loud, she's full of life, and she is desperate to escape her own. All right, let's head back to West Egg, because next door to Nick's quiet little house, a completely different kind of world erupts every single weekend. A world created entirely by the elusive Mr. Gatsby. Gatsby's parties are the stuff of legend. We're talking a full orchestra, multiple bars, and hundreds of guests from the city who just come and go like moths to a flame. I mean, it is just an absolutely unbelievable display of wealth and access. But the weirdest part? Almost nobody there has ever even met the host. So what's so fascinating here is that since nobody knows the real guy, they just make stuff up. A legend takes his place. Did he kill a man? Was he a German spy? Is he related to German royalty? Is he a bootlegger? Everyone has a theory, and each one is more wild than the last, which only makes him more of a mystery. There's this amazing little scene where Nick and his friend Jordan find a drunk guy in Gatsby's library, and he's just stunned to discover that the books are actually real. And honestly, it's the perfect metaphor for Gatsby's entire world. It's all a meticulously crafted illusion, so detailed that it almost feels real. But the guy's surprise tells you that deep down, it's all just an elaborate stage set. So after all the rumors, all the gossip, and the sheer spectacle of his world, Nick finally, and pretty much by accident, comes face to face with the man himself. And when Nick finally meets him, the real guy is just completely disarming. He's young, he's handsome, and he has this incredibly powerful smile. It's the kind of smile that seems to see the absolute best in you, to believe in you completely. It's a smile of pure hope, and you instantly get how this one guy could inspire so many crazy legends. And just like that, with a simple introduction, the search is over. The great mysterious host finally reveals himself, and for a moment, the legend becomes a man. Okay, but that still leaves the biggest question of all. Why? Why do all of this? Well, the answer comes from Jordan Baker. Turns out it was no accident that Gatsby picked this exact spot. Every party, every orchestra, every single bottle of champagne was part of this elaborate 5-year plan with one single obsessive goal. It was all for Daisy. The entire massive spectacle was designed to get the attention of one person, living in a house just across the water. And it all clicks for Nick. He suddenly remembers seeing Gatsby, all alone in the dark, stretching his arms out toward that single green light at the end of Daisy's dock. That light, that's his dream, his past, and his entire reason for being. And this is the question that just hangs over the rest of the story. Gatsby has built an entire empire on the belief that he can. He really thinks that with enough money, enough glamour, enough sheer will, he can rewind time and win back the woman he lost. But the real question is, can all the money in the world actually let you repeat the past? Gatsby's story is just this timeless look at wealth, love, and the whole idea of the American dream. If you want to dive into more stories that ask these kinds of big questions, do us a favor and hit that like button and subscribe for more explainers on great literature. Let us know in the comments what other books you'd like to see us break down. Thanks for watching.